Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest. And on the segment tonight, a crucial story that does need all of your attention. A heartbreaking story that's now shaking the entire nation. Spurious cough syrup was suspected in the deaths of 11 innocent children, 9 in Madhya Pradesh and 2 in Rajasthan. But just a short while ago, Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare says no contaminants found. Yet the tragedy unfolds. We'll break down the facts, the past scandals, charges against the system, and India's pharma powerhouse status. But first, let's trace the horror. In Madhya Pradesh's Chhindwara district, 9 children under 5 died from acute kidney failure after taking cold drift, that particular cough syrup, for flu symptoms. In Rajasthan, 2 more young lives were claimed. All victims showed similar symptoms. Rapid deterioration in health leading to organ failure. The syrups in Madhya Pradesh came from Shresan Pharmaceuticals in Tamil Nadu, which needless to say is now under scrutiny as well. Tamil Nadu state officials have acted swiftly, banning sales and seizing and freezing the stocks of cold drift, this particular cough syrup. But here's the twist. A joint team from the NCDC, the National Institute of Virology and the CDSCO collected samples and found no diethylene glycol or ethylene glycol, DEG or EG contaminants, the usual suspects in such cases. Water vectors and air samples are still under probe, and with the center investigating all possible causes. So if no toxins have been detected, then what killed these kids? The mystery deepens, fueling calls for deeper and thorough investigations. The center also has issued a stern advisory. Cough syrups must be given with utmost caution. Most cough and cold cases get resolved without medication. No cough meds for children under 2 years, and generally not advised under 5. For kids above the age of 5, only if a doctor prescribes. A timely reminder, but too late for these respective families. This isn't isolated because India has had a grim past. In Jammu, 2019-2020, 12 children died from cold-best PC syrup laced with 340 times toxic DEG. In Gambia, 66 kids died in 2022. WHO confirmed diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol contaminants presence in the Indian syrups. In the same year, in Uzbekistan, over 65 fatalities due to contaminated syrup from Marion Biotech. Licenses were cancelled, staff was jailed, and in the next year in Cameroon, 12 children killed by nature cold syrup. These are recurring nightmares, but why do they persist? Critics level serious charges. Number 1, insufficient oversight of manufacturing facilities. Then you've got weak quality control in the testing labs. Number 3, you've got limited prosecution of violating companies. Number 4, export-only licenses with minimal domestic scrutiny. These gaps allow the spurious medication to slip through, endangering lives. The 79th NSS survey shows limited awareness of pharma quality, specifically in various households. No systemic tracking of adverse reactions, again in households. Recurring contaminations with industrial solvents since 1986. Inadequate enforcement enables violation. Exports face less scrutiny than the domestic sales. And then you've got FDA and those reports flagging data integrity and compliance gaps in Indian firms. Is regulation lagging behind our global ambitions? It's important because India remains the world's pharma powerhouse, supplying 20% of global generics, third largest producer by volume, vaccine leader with 60% of the world's supply, 40% of US generics, and 25% of UK medicines come from us back at home. In financial year 2024-2025, exports hit $30.5 billion US, with the USA taking 32.2% of it. Our medicines reach 200 plus countries, a global reliance that's now at risk from these scandals. We've got an informed set of panelists with us on the broadcast, and the big questions that we are asking tonight. Center's test, it claims no contaminants in the syrup, but kids have died. What caused it, and why no accountability yet? And with India's international reputation at stake, what will it take for a complete overhaul of the drug safety norms? All right, with us on the broadcast, Dr. Ravi Malik, CMD, Radix Hospital, Dr. Arvind Jain, former Vice President, IMA HQ, New Delhi, and former President, IMA Madhya Pradesh, is soon going to be with us. Dr. Shubhra Bhardwaj, consultant physician, also with us on the broadcast. You know what, Dr. Malik, let's quickly get the ball rolling here. The first question that I did put up, 11 children have died after consuming this spurious cough syrup. The government says there is no contaminants that have been found, specifically with the DEG and the EG. But from a clinical perspective, how does diethylene glycol affect children, and how quickly do symptoms develop? What is it that these families did not know, and we can possibly educate a few more that are watching this show?
So first of all, I will like to point out that there should be patient awareness and public awareness. Children who are less than 6 years should not be given cough syrups, especially cough suppressants which are containing dextromethorphan. And most of the cough syrups are containing either antihistaminics or decongestants or cough suppressants like dextromethorphan. They are all harmful for the kids. They can cause drowsiness in a child. They can also cause arrhythmias, or they can cause breathing difficulties. So it is extremely important that public awareness should be there that children who are less than 6 years, they don't need cough syrups, number one. Okay. Number two, even if we have to give cough syrups after the age of 6 years, it should be under the supervision of a doctor, and it should be judiciously used, because the treatment of cough is not cough syrups. We have to basically diagnose whether it is allergy, pneumonia, or whatever, and we have to address that issue. Now, as far as this toxic product is concerned, diethyl glycol, you know, this is a chemical which is not for human consumption at all. This is used basically in dyeing industry or in resins, and it is a component of paints. So it is not to be used by the human consumption, and it is definitely a poison and a toxic substance. So that is also very important for us to understand. So basically, prevention is better than cure. So it is very important that whatever cough syrups have been used, they should be immediately seized. They should be immediately kept under supervision, and proper investigation should be done. So any culprit, whosoever is found, should also be punished, so that these kind of things, they don't happen in future. And we should save the lives of the little children from such kind of...
How do we do that, Dr. Malik? How do we do that? Because you rightly pointed out that cough syrups, they aren't to be administered to children below the age of 6. And when it comes to, children below the age of 5, there's an advisory that's been going out now saying that use it, sparingly, use it judiciously. Now, that's a vague term. How do you treat cold and cough symptoms in children below the age of 5?
I will like to again point it out. We cannot use cough syrups judiciously below the age of 5 years. A clear advisory is there from Indian Academy of Pediatrics and American Academy of Pediatrics that cough syrups, they are not to be used below the age of 4 years at least. We cannot use them. Now, as far as the treatment is concerned, we can give humidation to the child. Senile drops can be given. If it is the cough is because of pneumonia, we can give the antibiotics. Nebulizers can be used. Bronchodilators can be used, depending upon what is the diagnosis, what is the cause which is causing the cough. Actually, we are not treating the cough, we are treating the pathology which is causing the cough. So let me make it clear, absolutely clear, below the age of 4 years, no cough syrup should be given to children, and preferably below the age of 6 years, no cough syrup can be given. It is not a new advisory. It is already there by all the pediatric organizations. Maybe it is European Pediatric Organization, or FDA has also banned.
So then that means there are clear lacunas in terms of implementation, because in the rural belts, all these chemist shops, they're flooded with these kind of cough syrups, and you never really know how much of surveillance will you keep up as to who's getting these cough syrups or not, and whether all these children are below 5 years or not. Because many a times in households, the elderly will give a spoonful of cough syrup to somebody who's, let's say, below the age of 5, and that can again become detrimental. Dr. Shubhra, let me ask and understand from you, Dr. Shubhra, what do you think killed these 11 children? I mean, the entire doctors' fraternity has been glued to the television screens, reading the headlines, the exclusive after exclusive. Experts are now talking about why DEG is used to thin out the entire, liquid. If the government says that there was no contaminant that was found, what, according to you, do you think killed those 11, claimed the lives of those 11 innocent children?
Yes, good evening, everybody. And that's a very good question. See, whether the DEG was found or it was not found. I think it is very early to prepare a report. I don't think that at such an early stage, in few hours or few days, we can prepare the entire report. One thing. And then secondly, DEG or EG, they are not the only chemicals that are responsible for, deaths. Or they are not the only chemicals responsible for causing, suppose injuries or organ failure. So many things in children. See, first of all, there is another substance, opioid-like substances. Those are also found in cough syrups, one thing, and then secondly, they are beta adrenergics. Both of these are basically found in adult, prescribed to adults, given usually to adults. Okay, so now if some dose or maybe a higher dose or maybe few doses, they were given to the children for the medicines meant for adults, they might have caused some, like arrhythmia, increased heart rate, palpitations, many things. So that may also be a cause. It is too early to just prepare and report and shut down the case. That is very common in our country.
But isn't it quite clear in these 11 cases that there was organ failure, that there was, acute effect on the kidney and the entire kidney system? What might have led to that? Because different chemicals lead to different kind of repercussions and consequences. What might have led to acute kidney failure? We do know that DEG can do that.
Yes, DEG can definitely do that, and DEG is one product that is very commonly used in place of glycerol, okay, because it is cheap and it is easily available and it is very colorless, and it is used because basically it is cheap for cost cutting. So that is one chemical that definitely causes acute renal injury, and it causes very quickly after the consumption. But right now, if DEG was not present, they have checked the batch for DEG. And then the DEG was not present. So they have to check what else was present. Something was definitely present, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be checked. And then, see, might be the batch was expired, there were technical failures, many things. Very early to say that
this particular batch was picked up. It was dated May 2025, wasn't going to expire until April 2027. So very much an active batch over here. Dr. Jitendra Kumar, senior nephrologist and chairman, Department of Renal Sciences, Accord Hospital, and former president, Delhi Nephrology Society. Many thanks for taking out the time. Many feathers in your hat, doctor, as well. Doctor, help us understand, how do these incidents reflect on India's pharmaceutical regulatory system? Are oversight and inspections failing us? Because there is clear lack of awareness. Many of the parents out there will go and pick up those, cough syrups without any prescription, and many a times the chemist will give away those bottles as well. But are oversight and inspection failing us? Some various lacunas, right from the manufacturing line to what kind of quality control and studies are carried out?
Somehow or other, over the last 1 decade, you must have seen that when this comes to choice of drugs, people are deliberately keeping doctors out of this. And true that there is some problem with the concern about prescribing the drugs which are costlier. But cost limitation alone, very openly people will advertise that some companies giving 90% discount. I give you an example. If you get a edible oil with 90% discount, you will get suspicious about the quality. But people are advertising openly about 90% discount on medicine. When this comes to procurement by any agency, including government agency, or maybe even in bulk purchase by any of the private setups, the only thing they look at is the lower price at the lower cost of the product. But we do not ensure about the quality. I will give you example of China. There was a milk feed for the infants, and just to improve the thickness of the milk, it was contaminated with melamine, and later it was found that that milk was causing kidney failure and renal stones. And this was highlighted by the authorities, and just to give a strong message to the world, the culprits were hanged. And China did that because otherwise its reputation as a pharmaceutical giant would have suffered. Similarly, in India, this is the time when our pharmaceuticals are going out. We have to companies as well. At one hand, we have good companies which are going and penetrating the US market, which are going in the European market. But here back in India, in domestic market, somewhere we are losing on the quality checks, and such kind of incidents are definitely going to bring bad name to our pharmaceutical industry, and people will think twice. Even in the West, we have suddenly seen about tariffs and all those stuff on the drugs. We cannot afford such a bad reputation on our drugs.
So clearly there's a problem. We need to take care of our reputation as well, and we do need to again look at how we can overhaul and look at restructuring of our safety rails, our guardrails. Dr. Arvind Jain, former Vice President, IMA HQ, New Delhi, and former President, IMA Madhya Pradesh, is with us on the phone line here. Dr. Jain, if you can hear us, why do cases like these repeat every few years? Despite the past warnings, are we not taking our learning lessons right? We already know that the professional bodies, just like yours, just like the IMA, has been doing all that it can. But what is it that it can do more over here, Dr. Jain?
बनी रही.
Well, it seems like a little bit of technical difficulty. Dr. Malik, would you like to answer to that question? Would you like to take that question?
Look, we need to take preventive steps, and the preventive steps have to be taken at a multiple tier, in a multiple tier system way. First of all, the regulatory authority should be very strict. So anybody who is found with the low quality of any manufacturer, which is found with the low quality of any medicine, he should be punished and his license should be cancelled. This is number one. This is at the level of the manufacturer. Second is at the level of the chemist. Now, the chemist is also not supposed to be dispensing the OTC drugs to the children which are contraindicated for that matter. Like a cough syrup cannot be given below the age of 4 years and all the advisories are there in place. Then no chemist should be allowed to give any kind of cough syrup to a child who is less than 4 years. That is the second level of the check. The third level is, of course, the medical professionals. They should also follow the same ethics that no cough syrup should be given. I think the problem with the medical professionals is not much, because all the qualified doctors, they don't use cough syrups below the age of 6 years. Fourth is a public awareness, and the awareness at the level of the parents. That is extremely important. They should not purchase medicines over the counter from the chemist. They should not give the medicines and cough syrups to the children whichever are lying down in their home. Back in the home, whatever the medicines are there, I've seen that the mothers and the parents, they give those cough syrups.
No, but the GMP standards, the CDSCO inspections, the various lab checks, are they strong enough? Are they executed with the right step?
Look, if they are strong enough, then probably these kind of things will not happen.
Okay.
So it is extremely important for us to see that the regulatory authorities are definitely strict on their
And Dr. Malik, what do you make of the fact that, just a short while ago, there were no contaminants found, at least no DEG or EG. What, according to you, led to the deaths of those 11 innocent children?
Look, one thing is very clear, that deaths have occurred. One thing is it is important. And maybe because of renal failure. I don't know the details and the reports of the particular case, but whatever I've learned is that deaths have occurred. There is no doubt about it. Now, whether a particular chemical is found or not found is immaterial, absolutely immaterial. There may be lot many other materials for that matter. There may be other
What other chemicals can cause renal failure, doctor? What other chemicals can cause renal failure?
There are n number of substances which can cause renal failure. Any chemical which has heavy metals like lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury, any chemical which has this thing, it has the potentials to cause the renal damage. So it is extremely important that, again, under the backdrop of fact that we have not found diethylene glycol, it is more serious. We should go further in the investigation and see what all other toxic substances were present in these cough syrups. That is very important for us to understand. And plus, we should also see how much quantity of dextromethorphan decongestant or the antihistaminics which are present. Maybe their presence was much more than the recommended one. So even
these are all medical terminologies, doctor. I mean, I do understand where you're coming from, but for the common man out there, these are medical terminologies. Will they even understand something like that? I mean, the debate over allopathy in Ayurvedic, gets so heated up on the dinner table. Will anybody even bother to look at these medical terms? So I'm just trying to understand. Let's make this a little bit of a public awareness gig as well. Dr. Bhardwaj, How can medical professionals, just like yourself and the entire doctors fraternity, better educate families and prevent these kinds of cases and these kinds of medical poisoning, if I could use that word?
See, first of all, it is very important as a GP, the role as a GP or the role as a physician or the role as a pediatrician. Okay. Because the patients would usually approach a pulmonologist later. First of all, they will come to the pediatrician or to the physician.
Right.
So it is very important to educate the patients. Like the cough syrup, do not take OTC cough syrup or do not take a cough syrup if you are not prescribed. The absolute treatment for cold is not a cough syrup. And if somebody asks me, cough syrup is one of the least important treatment for common cold. Okay, so first of all, we have to tell our patients that first of all, you don't take any cough syrup of your choice. You take a cough syrup or you take most of the medications should be taken only as advised by the doctor. One thing, and then secondly, the medicines that are meant for adults, they should not be halved or done 1/4 and given to the children. Like like I told earlier also, there are some components in the adult cough syrups or some components in the cough syrup which should never be given to the children. Okay, so we have to educate our patients that if a doctor gives cough syrup to an adult, please do not half it or 1/4 it and give to your children.
That's a pertinent point that you've raised over there, Dr. Bhardwaj. It doesn't matter. Do not half it or give a 1/4 of what an adult would take to your own child. That's a major point that you've put across. You know what, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, I did want to ask you what India can do to safeguard its reputation, but it seems like Dr. Arvind Jain is finally with us. Dr. Arvind Jain, many thanks for taking on the time. Just wanted a quick input as to what you think happened in Chhindwara district, what happened in Rajasthan. 11 children, 11 innocent lives lost due to cough syrup allegedly, and as per the government, no contaminants have been found. So eyebrows are being raised everywhere because the kids actually have died. What led to those deaths?
Actually, this incident started at a place near Chhindwara called Paraskia.
Yep.
That is actually a coal mine area. The common cough and cold was, there, and many children have received the cough syrup, and they then when found that some deterioration in their health is going, then they were shifted to Chhindwara, which is a district hospital.
Right.
From there, they went to even Nagpur. Okay, few of the children were recovered from their illness, but few unfortunately have died. As you have rightly said that even the government agencies, the RMRC and ICMR had come to their teams and they could not find any cause to substantiate that this has caused because of the...
Is that believable? Is that believable? My apologies for interjecting, Dr. Jain, but is that believable that, the Institute of Virology went there, the CSDS CEO was there, the entire team was there and they couldn't find the said contaminant?
See, the problem happens is normally when death occurs in our country, normally the pathological postmortem, which we call it, that to find out the exact cause of the death, were not done. So you cannot say that what exactly happened to them.
Okay, all right. You know what, Dr. Jitendra, let me come to you real quick. 30%, $30.5 billion worth of annual pharma exports. I mean, look at how the entire world must be looking at us right now as the pharmaceutical powerhouse. What can we do to rub off that smear? What can we do to keep a decent check on that reputation?
Actually,
I would like to say that generic is a good alternative to the branded drugs, but all generics are not.
And of course, pointing out that we can't do what China has done. I mean, of course, that's not the right example to put forth.
I fully agree. But that was just to explain you that what is the extent that countries can go on. We have to send a good message. The good generics are available in India, but at the same time, there is always a backdoor entry by some bad generics. That needs to be regulated. Hardly because of few greedy persons, the entire medical fraternity, entire India, entire pharmaceuticals get defamed. So it is very important that regulatory authorities should be having some teeth. Suppose a company is banned, the same person can form a different company and again manufacture a spurious medicine. So if you look at the pattern, the pattern of the death of kidney failure looks similar to DC, although the fact is that DC was not found in the cough syrup, but it could be any reason. So death is there is no doubt, and
Yep.
there is a clinical correlation that it happened after a lot many children consumed the cough syrup. There could be a number of reasons, but this is point for introspections, and regulatory authority must be taking some tougher steps to give real message to the India and to save lives as well, so that good generics are protected and promoted, and at the same time the spurious drugs, spurious service providers should be really prosecuted, so that such kind of things should not be dared by any other person in future.
Yeah, the entire pond stinks because of one dead fish. Clearly, that there's lots more to decode and talk here. Dr. Jain, would love to spend some more time on you and with you, but completely run out of time here. My final 30 seconds to you, Dr. Jain. What's that message of public awareness that you'd like to put out?
I would like to put out that whenever you take any drug, you should be very careful about it. Any symptoms, like if you have, if you have, after taking drug, you have got some allergic spot, or if you have got some difficulty in urine or your, diet, you should always report to your doctor that after taking or consuming this drug, I am facing this problem. So that can be, the drug can be stopped, because there are many drugs which, may give you some allergy reaction to someone and may not give some allergy reaction to some other person. So then whenever you take any drug, you should always be vigilant that if any changes in your regular system, then you should always report it to a doctor and stop that medicine which you are taking.
All right, that's the word of advice and caution. I think I'm going to leave it there. We're going to continue to probe these developments and vouch on News9 to bring you all the latest details vis-a-vis the probe that's being carried out on whether what contaminated those particular cough syrups. But many thanks to the entire panel for educating me and largely my audience as well. Dr. Ravi Malik, Dr. Arvind Jain, Dr. Shubhra and Dr. Jitendra Kumar, many thanks for joining us here. We do need to demand quality, because that's the only reason we're going to be able to save our kids. India cannot afford to let history repeat itself time and again. And even as the crisis deepens, the questions remain. Who is accountable and how do we prevent the next tragedy? That's all the time we have for you in this edition of In Your Interest. Many thanks for watching. Top developments right on the other side.
You can take a left, you can take a right. Add a little salsa or a little time. If you really feel it, say it on price. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe.
Dreaming about me.
Love is to get lost in the look. Unlimit Love B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh.
Being a chef, it's my priority to deliver taste in a plate with good presentation, unique innovation. You need to explore, you need to experiment.
You observe the people, make them happy, make them feel happy, and in the end you are smiling. That's the most important thing.
With Lounge Nights, I'm on a journey to celebrate and recognize the best food and nightlife establishments in various cities across India.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
In Mumbai, while inaugurating the Cyber Awareness Month 2025 at the Maharashtra Police Headquarters, actor Akshay Kumar has shared a personal incident to highlight the growing menace of cybercrime. He revealed that while his daughter was playing an online video game. A stranger asked her if she was male or female and then demanded inappropriate pictures from her. Akshay Kumar said that his daughter immediately shut down the game and informed her mother. Calling it a serious warning, Akshay Kumar stressed that this is how cybercrime begins and that such crimes are now becoming bigger than street crimes. He urged the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, to introduce a weekly cyber period in schools for students of classes 7 to 10 to make children aware of online dangers and protect them from sexual predators. We have my colleague Kabir Naqvi now joining us live from the newsroom for more on that big story that we're tracking. Kabir, Akshay Kumar has flagged off something that many fathers in this country would be glad to. But the fact that it comes from somebody like a public personality from him, it's important we take it seriously. In fact, we take it as a wake-up call in this country.
You're absolutely right, Krishna. I mean, so much of our lives are dependent on our applications, and be it, petty games like a snooker, 8-ball, or even Candy Crush. In those kind of situations, you don't have a chat box, you don't have somebody else who's sitting on the other side, that you don't have any idea who they are, how old they are, what gender they are. And that's where sexual predators, they can come across and, approach minors, alike boys, girls. They're all playing these kind of games. And Akshay Kumar has raised that issue, he's raised that red flag, and I think it was Akshay Kumar. It's again sad that 13-year-old daughter of Akshay Kumar had to go through that, and she was asked, that silly little question. So many ghastly sexual predators that are already out there, but it can happen to anybody. It can happen to our children. It can happen to anybody, and all of our kids are already out there, playing all kinds of video games. Not to say that all online games are bad, but there is a requirement of a strict set of guardrails that is now needed. So what he is suggesting is that for the 7th to the 10th grade, you should have on Saturdays a special cyber crime awareness lessons. You already have sex education that goes on in various schools. You already have classes on special, physical education. You have classes that now tell you about how to manage your finances, how to be better at wealth creation. Why not teach our kids about cyber awareness as well? Artificial intelligence, advent of new technology, but the boon and bane factor also has to be taken into account. So Akshay Kumar, I think he speaks for all the parents out there, and it's a welcome step. Speaking on the occasion of the Cyber Month awareness at the Maharashtra Police Headquarters, what better platform to put a message like that across? And Akshay Kumar, in the kind of fiefdom that he enjoys amongst the length and breadth of the country, his message is also going to go, right down to the wire.
Interesting that Akshay Kumar would focus on education to solve this menace, because you can't stop cyber criminals and cyber fraudsters from being on the internet. It's important that we remain alert for ourselves and for our families, and that is another important message, isn't it? I mean, Akshay Kumar can